body, and soul. We're really looking at enabling and empowering youth, mind, body, and soul. And today we have some phenomenal, inspirational speakers, both individually and through their wonderful organizations. We're going to be speaking with Olcay Özer, who's a volunteer at the Ali İsmail Korkmaz Foundation. We'll be speaking with Alper Şentürk from the Entrepreneurship Foundation, Girişimcilik Vakfı, and Ebru Efendioğlu from Young Guru Academy. I'm going to take a quick moment just to let you guys give us a heads up, because I know that you're all working in different parts of the country as well. So maybe we can do a quick tour. Olcay, Alper, Ebru, would you like to introduce yourselves briefly? Olcay, let's start with you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Olcay. I'm a volunteer at Ali İsmail Korkmaz Foundation that is based in Hatay, which was a city that was devastated at the earthquake. I'm based in Istanbul, and I'm responsible for fundraising of the organization. Thank you very much for hosting us.
I'm so glad you're with us today. Alper, let's continue with you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alper. I work as the Youth Programs Director in Entrepreneurship Foundation. And for 17 years now, I'm working with young people with different backgrounds and diversities. That's enough for now, I guess. Thank you for the invitation, by the way.
Well, Alper, too, you're based in Istanbul, but you're working with young people from all across the country. So it's a wonderful program. We're going to talk about that, too. And Ebru, let's hear from you. Young Guru.
Hello, I am Ebru. I am an English teacher for over 12 years. I live in Elbistan, Kahramanmaraş in Turkey. Elbistan was hit hard by second earthquake, and causing a lot of damage to the city. Despite these all challenges and circumstances, I still live here and I teach middle school students. I've been with YJ since 2020, and I am here as one of the YJ role model teachers.
Fantastic. And it's, really thank you so much for staying in a place of hardship at the moment. I think that alone is a role model effect. So congratulations on the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So we did say 19th of May, the Youth and Sports Day, Mind, Body, and Soul Connection. I would really like to start, before we get into your organizational roles and activities, just a brief discussion really on the times. What type of social challenges are youth facing, and how are we going to define those challenges so that we can actually start creating solutions for them? And some of the things are universal. Some issues are universal. Some things are cultural. Some things are geographical. Some things are circumstantial. So it would be really interesting if we could do a round of conversations on what you're looking at when you hear youth empowerment and social challenges. What's the first thing that comes to mind? And I'm just going to go back to Olcay and put her on the hot spot. Olcay, can we hear from you? What is it that you're thinking
of course. I'll talk briefly a bit about youth in Turkey facing lots of challenges due to decreasing civil space, of course. And that means there's a lack of policy in central and both local government that includes youth empowerment. So either the needs for the participation of youth is lacking, or the needs that youth is involved is missing. So I would just briefly share some statistics about youth in Turkey. For example, based on OECD statistic, in Turkey, Turkey has been ranked for years within the need society. That means young people neither in education nor in employment. So in the OECD statistics shows that the needs young people has a lot of average in Turkey. So that's a big social challenge that young people face in Turkey. And the employment rate of youth is 20%. And the disadvantages increase when we talk about women. That means 3 out of 4 young people is women. So both being woman and young has lots of social challenges and disadvantages in Turkey. Another challenge is that is also both universal and also cultural and geographical, the poverty. The poverty, I mean, I can briefly share a statistic for the poverty also. According to a research that was made with 13,000 university students, 60% of young people live under relatively poverty line. So the poverty has a huge impact for young people. So that is an important challenge. The other one is the lack of participation of young people. Young people could not participate in decision making. And these are the decisions that concerns their life. For example, during the pandemics, suddenly universities became online, and online education were not possible for all students. So they stayed away from their education. They couldn't join the sessions, the courses. I mean, that was a decision that was directly affecting their lives. So that's why we're trying to work in ELICAP to increase awareness and the knowledge of young people against their rights, their gender perspectives, their human rights issue. So these are briefly some challenges that I could mention.
I mean, it really sounds like you're saying, or you're trying to emphasize the fact that young people or youth is not tomorrow's resource, but actually they should be today's resource, and we're not tapping into them.
Certainly.
And because we're not tapping into them today, not only are they missing out on development opportunities, but we're missing out on their perspective. So yeah, that seems like a big missed opportunity when you think of it that way, because we're always saying, oh, the youth, the future of, they're the next generation, they're the future leaders, but actually that's not true. They're individuals and citizens in today's day and age, right? It's not just tomorrow, but also today. And how do we engage them in civil society, in decision making, and in shaping their own opportunities and being more self-effectuating as opposed to fatalistic, right? So it's a whole
Certainly.
mindset that feeds off of each other. Alper, let's jump to you, because you're also dealing with young people, specifically in terms of growth mindset, I'm going to say, because when the moment you say entrepreneurship, you're really looking at people who see a problem and turn it into a solution, or right? So they turn it into an opportunity. That's, to me, the secret of entrepreneurship. So I'm curious to how you're defining the social challenges for youth.
Yeah, actually, we are on a good point to talk about the young people and how they relate with the society. And I want to elaborate a concept, like a term, which is lifestyle. And the lifestyle has a different definition today. I mean, I believe, like the hairstyle you have, the language, the slang you use with your friends, or the social media platform you prefer, the media you follow, the person or the people you love. Even sometimes, like having a dinner is an experience. Like with all these variety of choices, now what we see in young people is young people are so diverse. If you randomly select 100 of them, it's really, you will struggle creating groups of categories depending on what they want or like. So this is also what makes it complicated to understand them and to create an environment for them to empower, because what we see is a colorful, diverse group which has unique abilities, skills, needs, and ideals. But we didn't have in our time these colors. So it's really difficult for us to understand, for society to understand what it means to live in this day to day, and what it means to be a young person today. So also this is creating this is taking us to a point where they need to be understood and accepted from society. If you are constantly rejected by a community, then what you will do next is to prove yourself to the community in different ways. But in reality, they don't have nothing to prove. So the emphasis here is that they have an anxiety of performance. They are not they feel they are not accepted into the society. So this is a social challenge I believe is really important, because also being themselves is important, so they feel the power to decide, and they feel they can do it, like they are the decision makers of today. And also I want to a little bit emphasize about the power from here, that I read an article before that is making a definition to power, which says uh, power is the ability to create uncertainties in people's lives, it says. And looking back into young people's lives, I see a lot of uncertainty, like about economical issues, about social issues, about education, about healthcare. They feel insecure, and their future, their today is not certain. So what we need to do is create certainties for them so that they can decide on themselves. They don't have the power to go forward with self-confidence. So this is the whole situation where I read the youth people and social challenges. We are not giving enough credit to them. As I mean all the people who needs to be supporting young people, because they're on a certain point in their life that they need to fail, and they need to learn from their mistakes. They need to they need to create ideas, like they need to believe in things, but they are still trying to prove it to prove themselves to ourselves, to us, to society, so that they cannot move forward with self-confidence. This is the most important, like, social issue I see in young people's lives.
I mean, what you said is quite dramatic, actually, if I were to summarize. Like, once upon a time, there was black and white, then there was black, white, and gray, and then the primary colors entered the picture. You had the blue, the yellow, the red, and all of a sudden now we're in a technicolor world, and you have every single type of color you can think of. So the colorfulness is a really interesting factor. And that goes back to identity, right? Being okay with your own identity. And again, back to self-effectuation, I think. Even when we talk about like career paths, like, in the olden days, I'm going to say, the whole thing was, what's somebody's career path? If you're working for a nice company, they should have a way for you to grow in your job and then progress. But right now, there's so many thousands of different paths for young people to take. Maybe part of the problem is too many choices, while part of the problem is not access to enough choices. Like, you have a dichotomy there. The paradox is complicated. You're absolutely right. It's going to be interesting to see where this conversation goes. And Ebro, speaking of which, you guys do a lot of like self-determination activities at Young Guru Academy.
Yes.
Also very keen on the growth mindset and self-effectuation. So can you tell us a little bit about your point of view and what you're experiencing?
Yes, those are my observations as a teacher. Financial hardships, young people struggle, poor quality education, and unemployment. These are the challenges youth are facing. But I want to express the other issues, major issues. One of them is, after the earthquake, I observed that mental health is also a critical concern, I think. Stress and anxiety due to the future uncertainties and academic pressures are common, and access to mental health services are also limited. Increasing the availability of these services is essential, I think, to support our young people effectively. Social pressures from family expectations and societal norms often limit their potential. As a teacher, I always observe that kids and children, especially young people, don't use their full potential, don't reach their full potential. Additionally, the overuse of the technology and social media leads to distraction, comparison, and insecurity. Encouraging balanced technology usage and addressing these issues is, I think, crucial. The lack of mentors and information gaps about career option. For example, some of my students even don't know some job's name. I can say that. Yes. For
Yeah.
example, providing more mentors and bridging these gaps, I think, is vital, especially students in disadvantaged regions do not know the professions very well. Opportunities are very limited and change to different region. Now we are also so disadvantaged region, and young people wants to feel hope.
Yes.
And yes, they don't want to feel hopeless. And I think our first duty is to bring back their hopes of these young people. Young people need to be self-confident because as they get older, they lose their sense of curiosity. This must be prevented. They shouldn't be afraid of making mistake. They shouldn't give up in the face of difficulties. We must provide this to young people as
Yeah.
teachers. And lastly, I can say that cultural barriers such as restrictive gender roles, discrimination, they are necessary to ensure equal opportunities for all, economic opportunities, and reducing social pressures. We can help our youth overcome these challenges and reach their full potential.
Yeah.
We must offer opportunities to young people in cooperation with companies and I think NGOs. These
It's
are
gonna
my
happen.
opinions from the
Yeah,
the
it's gonna
teacher
happen.
observation.
It's wonderful. Well, you're so immersed in the whole experience, so it's a
Yes.
very, very valuable perspective. I think it's interesting that both you and IPAR said the same thing about creating safe spaces for people to try and fail. So really, it's the act of trying that should be applauded, not the success. It's just the effort or the courage to try is actually what needs to be rewarded and recognized at some point while they're gaining experience. And so it is really interesting because we're such a young population as well in Turkey that, there are kind of two ways that this can go. If you think about it as a cultural inheritance, right? I go back to the growth mindset and closed mindset quite a bit, but, if we have a problem and if the reaction to that problem is to complain, and then find somebody to blame and then feel hopelessness. So there's a whole cycle like that. Or we can teach our young people to find a problem, explore solutions, convene partners, and feel powerful, right? So actually, when I think of entrepreneurship, for example, or entrepreneurial mindset, I do think it's the newest survival skill. I don't think everybody has to be an entrepreneur in terms of starting their own business, but the ability to be able to identify problems and potential solutions and then mobilize resources around them, that is the next generation survival skill to me. And it goes back to all the things that you said. The other thing I want to mention is one day I was at a TED conference recently. There were 600 people in the audience. And this woman was speaking about mental health. She said, how many people in this room have experienced some type of a mental health dilemma? Probably like 80% of the room raised their hand. And she said, how many people in this room know somebody who's experienced a mental health problem? 100 people raised their hand. So what the point she was trying to make is we're all suffering from mental health issues and emotional well-being. And it's almost too big of a tidal wave for just professionals to solve. So that's where the mentors, the teachers, all this like ecosystem of caretakers and nurturers come into play. Like we all need to be able to support each other in terms of positive thinking and positive self-reflection, and being able to manage our own emotions, essentially, like how we manage our emotions and move forward. So this topic, of course, is broad and deep. We could keep going for a really long time, but I would really love to do another tour of conversations about your organizations. You have all of your organizations, Ali Ismail Korkmaz Foundation, Entrepreneurship Foundation, and Young Guru Academy. You're the gold standard, really, for youth empowerment activities. And let's hear a little bit about, what your organization's mission is and what your organization's maybe highlight projects are these days. or in this term, this agenda. Olcay, shall we come back to you? Let's
Yeah,
keep
sure.
going in a circle. We'll close the circle. Yeah.
And thank you for your warm words about the foundations. Ali İsmail Korkmaz Foundation is a non-governmental organization that was founded by Ali İsmail Korkmaz family. Ali İsmail was a young people who was deprived of his right to life during a civil protest across Turkey, but the family decided to transform this painful experience to hope for other young people. So hope and having some impact for young people is our mission. So Ali İsmail Korkmaz Foundation work for an equal world for young people. That's our mission, and we are working for it. And I want to just emphasize what Alper and Ebru mentioned. Ali İsmail Korkmaz Foundation main area of works depends on creating safe space for young people. So our programs are structured for giving young people secure, safe, and open spaces. So we're giving scholarship for young people who is depriving from poverty. So that's one of our main activity that we will keep doing it, because young people, as I already mentioned, are living in a lots of poverty, and but we are also having some other programs that allow young people to express themselves freely. One of this program is, for example, the Young Artist Fund, which gives young artists to have their freedom of expression by producing some artistic projects. And they're doing this project with other 15, 16 young people, and they're becoming a community, and then they're having an exhibition. One other project is the Dream Ambassador program, and the program is basically based on what you already mentioned, Didem. Young people just find some problems by themselves and find their solutions also. So the program is based on finding a problem and solving it by themselves. So that was exactly what you have already described. And another one was the program that very recently structures right after the earthquake, actually, is the What Young People Say program. So after the earthquake, I mean, it was obvious that young people couldn't have a place to express themselves, a media that they can talk about their mental issues, their needs, their, their lack of all of the things they already missed. So we have opened a media space that young people, most of them from the earthquake area, could join and work together to just produce some mediatic products. So this program is still ongoing, and this is also became a community. So basically, our program, as I already mentioned, open a free and secure space for young people. And that's why we believe in hope and giving them an equal world for their future.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. It's so interesting how everything dovetails into each other. Absolutely. Alper, would you like to continue? Because you are also a cohort-based organization. I think that you have like periodic seasons where people apply to your programs, and then you have alumni programs, etc. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Entrepreneurship Foundation?
Yes, of course. Like we have three main problem areas that we are focusing. And first is the skills gap in technology focused ventures, which like there are talents in different expertises, and there are corporations and there are ventures who need them, but somehow they are not meeting in the best fit. So we are working on that area. And another problem we are trying to solve is the access to capital and accessibility to financial instruments, because it's also important for people to implement their ideas and turn their ideas into ventures or into startups, into change even. And the last thing is that the lack of common ground among the ecosystem of stakeholders. Like we are trying to create a common ground where all of the startup ecosystem can talk, can improve themselves. So we support young people about the entrepreneurial skills and competencies, and with different programs. Like even if you don't have an expertise about technology, you can find a program in this foundation that you just go into the program and be a coder. You can create an app, a game. And also we have the core program, which is the fellowship program we believe in a lot. And it's every year nearly 150,000 university students are applying, and we are working with nearly 60 of them yearly. And we are supporting them with scholarship because it's also how Olcay mentioned, it's important to relieve yourself about the current economical issues so that you can think of something else, like you can go forward. And we also support them with a network, because when you are with the right people, when you have the people around you who are telling you what your next move can be, then it's more easy. Like it's an easier way to build up your ideas. For young people, it's so difficult to find someone who can move you forward with your idea. So we are creating networking opportunities for them. And also, it was something that I find it in my previous years. I find it overrated. Inspiration. So it's also important for young people to get inspired from from people's ideas. So we create opportunities for young people that they get the inspiration and move forward. And also, another thing that we do, I believe a lot, is we are creating communities. And I believe communities are really important for people's lives, like also your individual life and also your professional life, because whenever you fall, whenever you fail, you need someone around you that it's okay to fail and focus you on what really matters the most, like what you learn from that experience. So we are creating experiential atmospheres for young people to safely fall, safely fail, and learn from their mistakes. So we always say, like, sky is the limit, and this is you will fail for sure, and you will fail like a lot, but this is the best place to fail. So all of our programs are empowering young people about the entrepreneurial competencies like agile thinking, problem solving, crisis management, and effective communication, etc. Because we believe even if you are chasing your own dream and creating your own startup, or you are going to a company and working as a professional, you need these skills, as you mentioned as well. And yeah, I can summarize it this way.
I think it's really fascinating how far this idea of entrepreneurial thinking or the entrepreneurial mindset has come. Because when we started Endeavor Turkey in 2006, I was teaching a course on an MBA class, actually, on entrepreneurship. And there was 60 students in the room. And I said, how many people are thinking about starting their own company at some point in the near future? And I think like 4 kids raised their hand. And then today, Girişimcilik Vakfı has 150,000 applicants every season that you open your campaign. That's phenomenal. It's really wonderful that it's becoming so much more of a mainstream. And even a few moments ago, I said entrepreneurial thinking, I think, is a survival skill. Like if you can figure out how to really reverse engineer a problem into a solution and an opportunity, actually, it's very empowering in and of itself. I also like the idea of mentorship, right? So, knowing what we don't know, you can ask for help. But oftentimes mentors actually help us identify what we don't know that we don't know. So, and anything that's going to take you one tiny step forward towards your goal is actually a huge step. Even if it's a tiny step, it's a huge step forward in terms of progress. So very exciting. Evra, let's continue with Young Guru. You guys are also doing amazing things. So many success stories from your organization as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about Young Guru and the programs that you're working on?
Sure. After the earthquake, I had to choice to stay or leave here, but I felt that my mission wasn't over yet, and I want to heal with children. I had also lost my loved ones and was going through a deep mourning process. I realized that I needed to my students to heal, and they needed me too. When the
Yeah, that's very hard.
Thank you. When the twin science sets arrived at our school, I saw the children's worlds change for the first time. Because our surroundings were in ruins, many of my students had emerged from the rubble and had lost family members. And I was only able to reach them through science and open doors to a different world for them. The volunteers from YGA connected with the children's world so effortlessly that the kids quickly adopted the process and they loved the process. They still remember that day with joy and said, I want them to write a New Year's letter, and they wrote me. We were very happy for the first time after the earthquake, and thanks to your teacher. That was really important for me. At a time that when we felt most disadvantaged, YGA said, we are with you, we are here, and we stand by you. With their support, my students came first in some regional competition, and they are preparing robotic competitions in very small room with those sets. And those sets are really easy for my students to use, all levels to use.
Can you describe those? I know what they are, but can you describe those sets, the twin sets? What are they?
They are simple robotic codes and simple devices like Lego pieces, but students love them because we have different sets at our school, but using twin science kits are very easy to use them.
They're brilliant. They're such a genius invention.
Yes, and with their support also, they are preparing another robotic competition, regional robotic competition. They have made already, I don't know exactly the number, but 8 projects. And these sets, these science kits are really easy to use. Because of this reason, these sets also boost their self-confidence. They believe themselves that, yes, we can do it.
Yeah, every little tiny success makes you believe a little bit more. Exactly. And the beauty of the twin science sets is that it's a group of students of Young Guru Academy who designed it, right? So it's a Young Guru Academy project. A bunch of your cohorts designed it, and then now they're older and they're turning it into a business. But on the other hand, the young people are still benefiting from that innovative design, which goes back to what Olcay was saying, that young people need to have a say in the solutions that they create for each other, right? I mean, they know better what they need than other people do. Yeah.
And also with this project, we establish a different connection with our children who had lost their family members, whose entire world had changed. As a teacher, I always wondered that how can we heal these wounds? How can we help them? How can we reach them? I was always searching for another way. Then I received a message from YJ saying that, don't worry, teacher Ebru, we will heal the wounds with science. This is the turning point of my life as a teacher. And indeed, they touched the little hearts with science. For example, one of my students who used to collect Lego pieces from trash to build new projects now is able to work with this wonderful science kids and create wonders. Believe me, they create wonders, and they are really willing to create new projects. And the role model teachers and these sciences have changed the perspective of children and myself towards science. Additionally, they have a lot of fun with this science kit. Also, we have digital platform. I don't know, have you heard it before, but Twin digital platform. The lessons and videos are really entertaining. The content has been developed for all ages, and the content captures children's interest greatly. And I am happy to be a part of this role model teachers program. This is what we do as teachers.
Yeah.
In Young Guru Academy.
And Young Guru too. I think it's just really wonderful that it's young people creating solutions for young people. So when you say that the digital platform is very entertaining, it's because young people wrote it for other young people. Yeah. They're speaking the same language and they have the same sense of humor, probably. Yeah. So let's go back to maybe some best practices and some impact outcomes and highlights you would like to share from your projects and your organizations. And then we'll do our final round in terms of our calls to action. So Olcay, can you share with us some of your best practices when you're working with youth empowerment issues?
Actually, in all of our programs, especially in Young Artist Fund and What Young People Say program, the programs are built on insights and visions and dreams of young people. So the best practices, the best thing that we do, I think, is believing in their dreams and opening a path for them to build their dreams. So I think the impact also relates to these best practices, because the impact of these programs are coming from young people learning from each other and sharing experiences and with each other. So it's a peer program, it's a community, like Alper said. And this community, we believe, will have a long-standing future for them. So we're not creating best practices or impact without these young people. So both the best practices and impact come from them. So
that's great.
I think that's the best thing we do.
Olcay, I mean, you said something so important, peer-to-peer learning. That exchange between peers is phenomenal and such an untapped and relatively easy, actually, way to leverage knowledge, right? Knowledge management and insight management and just effective communication. It also eliminates the hierarchical, like, I'm the teacher, you're the student, I'm the, important person, you're just going to learn from me, etc. When you do the peer-to-peer learning and exchange, it creates a whole different environment for ideas to flow. So it's really fascinating. I think that that's a real key insight, actually, peer-to-peer learning and leveraging that more. I know that you're really passionate about best practices. So you've been doing this for quite some time. We would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, actually, it's I don't know if it's best practice, but I saw that these worked on young people a lot, and also for their environment as well. And the first thing is that related with also the peer education part as well, but creating an atmosphere that they can develop argumentative thinking, because what they get is like the information is everywhere. They can get the information everywhere, but the practice of that information, like the use case of that information, is hidden in the discussions. Like you need to discuss it with someone who is not higher than you, or who is not a teacher or an authority. And you need to discuss it with your peers, so that you see different arguments in that matter, so that you can develop your own idea. I see it's very useful for young people to create a decision process for themselves, because what we believe is that we decide on something depending on criterias, like I'm deciding something depending on equality or justice or creativity, but what creativity is is something else for everyone. So you need to you need to think about it further, and you need to think it into detail so that you can create your own decisions. So this is some like best practice I can give an example of. And also reverse mentoring and mentoring as they're really powerful tools. And reverse mentoring is also a really powerful tool for elderly people to understand how today's world works. And also it's a beneficiary for the young people as well, because they have the opportunity to express themselves. They are sharing their experiences to someone who are eager to listen and learn from it. It's also a win-win situation for young people as well as the professionals and elderly people, I believe. And last thing that I want to share is that I don't believe that they are getting meaningful feedbacks from the people who they work with, because most of the questions they ask is related with why, like why are we doing this? Why are we doing it this way? Why are we not doing this as well? They're getting the answer mostly is not satisfactory. Like they're getting the answer, yeah, we did it the same last year. Okay, it's it's a valid answer for me, but for young people to understand world better, they need more clear feedbacks, that like the reasoning behind how it's been decided, how the process works. So if you are clear and I don't know, if you are honest with your opinion, you can tell everything that they are getting it, they are learning from it. But they're not getting clear and effective feedbacks from their seniors, I believe, because I often hear from young people that yeah, this is the best feedback I ever get. Like I didn't like, because there is something for me to grow.
Right.
And getting a meaningful feedback on their first feedback until they're 25 years old, it's really sad, I think.
Yeah.
So they need to face it before, or it must be their regular life.
So I'm going to give you a wish list for Girişimcilik Vakfı. Can you also create a program that teaches people how to give constructive feedback? 'Cause
Yeah, actually we
that's
do.
the challenge,
Like,
right? You know, it's not that they're not getting the feedback, it's that people aren't giving it, right? So it's how do you give meaningful constructive feedback is such a huge part of, well, mentorship in general, but
eh,
and in
and
anything
also it's
really.
so simple. Like
Yeah,
it's
it
not so
is. Yeah.
complicated. Like give the facts and give your
Yeah.
comments and give your ideas, and like just think this feedback is gonna work for him or her or not. It's
The
so simple.
the three things that you've mentioned, right? You said argumentative methods, you said reverse mentoring, and you said effective feedback. All three of those things to me speak about emotional maturity. How we listen, how we talk, and how we respond as opposed to react, right? So that's really a tool of emotional maturity that obviously it's part of the entrepreneurial lifestyle, I think. But again, another survival skill is emotional maturity, to be able to be self-reflective without being judgmental, to be able to listen with the intention to hear and not talk, right? Like the whole art of listening, generous listening is also really important. And then the art of giving feedback in an effective way, which is not crushing, but it's constructive. So all of those things are really interesting. And then, of course, being open to reverse mentoring. We can learn from everybody. I can learn from a 3-year-old, and a 3-year-old can learn from me. We can all learn from each other. So being able to make that a more mainstream notion, I think, is really, really key. I love it. I love your organization. We grew up together. When Girişimcilik Vakfı was first formed, we were in the same office together with Endeavor Turkey. It was a wonderful experience. And Ebru, let's hear from you. What are some of your best practices from the field?
I have been YGA since the pandemic began, and from the first day, the very first day, I have the opportunity constantly to develop myself as a teacher, to keep up innovation and to meet people who have made significant differences in this field of education. Through the YGA Role Model Teachers Program, I also had the chance to connect with the teachers from all over Turkey and establish a unique bond. And this year, I also was invited and attended the YGA 2023 summit. By the end of the summit, my perspective on all challenges had changed, and I said I returned to my hometown with new insight, and I thought that I might never have gained in my lifetime these insights. YJ volunteers when they came my school, YJ volunteers conducted pre-test and post-test on children's perspectives on science, and according to the results, the children's attitudes towards science had significantly improved. According to this year's Future Bright reports, following the science workshops, 99 of children experienced a change in their career aspirations and choice. It was observed that 95 had an increased instinct for asking questions, and 96 developed a spirit of teamwork, because we have so many difficulties at school that about teamwork. They don't want to work together. I had the opportunity also to personally observe these improvements in my own students as well. When the volunteers came to my school and worked with us, the connection they formed with the children was truly remarkable. They took the time, look into the eyes, each children, to learn about their dreams, their expectation for the future. They knew all of my students personally at the end of the workshop. Besides those science kits, I think the social connection they built was very impactful for me. Each volunteer student shared their story with my student, and the children received the message that you are not alone here. You don't feel alone anymore. We are with you in their disadvantaged city. As a district, we were already quite small city, and after the earthquake, the city's resources were very limited, and YGA helped them to move away from the destructive effects of earthquake and became partners in my students' dreams. One of my students who was very introverted and had difficulty to talk, reaching out after the earthquake, had lost his family members, parents, mother and father, came to me, and one day said, do you know, teacher, what I created with those science kits today? I want to show you. And this is the way how he communicates with those sets. So actually, I opened the door to a different world with the children beyond just teaching. My other colleagues also became involved in this process. They also supported me. We are a great team at school now. My teacher friends who have met YGA, also part of this community. Sometimes when I ask myself why I stayed here, I realized that I actually had a mission to heal the children with science after all these traumas they experienced, to bring out their curiosity again, and they can solve the problems we face around us, because there are so many environmental problems going on here. I thank YGA for standing by me on this journey. When they first came to my town, I thought it was their first visit. I learned that they had come here repeatedly, even when there was no place to stay after the earthquake. They said, Teacher Ebru, we know this place, we know that what you have been through. They said, and I couldn't hold my back tears at that moment. More than half of my city was destroyed. Even schools were damaged. Now 2 schools are in one place and in a really small room. I continue, and my friends continue to use this science kit. When these kits arise, earthquakes and aftershocks were still happening. But I can say that YGA has a turning point for me and my students.
You're so passionate in your description, and all I can say is that you've built this beautiful community, and that community is kind of like a center of gravity. So it's attracting more and more talent and more people to support your activities. Really, to all three of you and your organizations, thank you so much for the work that you do. We're just about out of time, so I'm going to give you guys another 10 seconds each to maybe share some final words or maybe a call to action that you'd like to make. And Olcay, we started with you, let's end with you. We'll do another quick tour, but very quickly, if you have a vision, call to action that you would like to share.
Yeah, actually, our vision is a short-term vision is to rebuild our building in our headquarters, Hatay, and meet with young people in Hatay again. Because we are really willing to go back to there and have a building and have a secure space for young people there also. So we're going to continue to work for a equal and inclusive world. I mean, that's our call for action.
Beautiful. Thank you. Alper, would you have something to share as your parting message?
Yeah, I want to share two things. One is that I think we need to see young people not as a problem, but as a part of the society that we are living together with. And while we are trying to, while we are seeing the problematic ways of young people, we are missing the opportunity to work with them and create better things with them. So I believe we need to see them as our fellow citizens, and also I want to call for young people who wants to apply to our programs. We are the most applied program is open now, and we have another month left so that they can apply to the fellow and challenger program is in open.
Wonderful, great opportunity. And Ebru, let's hear from you.
Yes, YGA sends free robotic coding sets to schools of all teachers accepted to a role model teacher program. In the program, these teachers are also given personal development training. They can learn how to use robotic sets and activities with their students. If there are teachers like me who want to be included in role model teachers program at YGA and want to ensure that their students learn by trying and having fun, they can contact YGA and they continue with science. They are still continue with science workshops every day in the earthquake affected region. For example, this week they are in, I'm not sure, but they are in Elazığ and Malatya. Please contact with YGA.
That's wonderful. So all of them were so clear, opportunities for action. And I know that you're collaborating with the Turkish Philanthropy funds on various campaigns related to this. If you would like to see more information on the campaigns by each of these organizations, you can visit their profile pages at www.tpfund.org. And of course, you can go to their own websites directly as well. But for the campaigns that we're running in the United States, you can check out on the tpfund.org website for the profiles and campaigns. You know, today is a special session for youth and sports for the 19th of May. And I really want to say something to you to say thank you for being so optimistic and being really, you know, beacons actually of light and creating this energy and these ecosystems and the bonding experiences that you do with all of the original approaches that you're taking as well. So thank you so much. I do want to take a moment to remember one of our colleagues who's been very active in this field, Sezai Hazır from the Habitat Youth and Education Foundation. He's a dear friend, a dear colleague. He's literally one of the anchors of the nonprofit ecosystem and so passionate about youth empowerment. I did want to take a moment to send a prayer to his family, to his loved ones, and may he rest in peace. I don't want to part on a sad note. I just know that he would want us to keep doing the work that we're doing because this was his passion, his reason for existence. So again, thank you all very much. Love to everybody in this field. Stay together, stay united.